Swiping right might seem harmless, but what if your next match is your worst nightmare? Stick around to hear 3 real dating app horror stories, and the chilling truth at the end. Let's just hope you haven't already swiped right on your doom. It started innocently enough. Another Friday night, another dating app. I swiped right on a profile, a guy named Ethan, cute smile, seemed normal. We matched and he messaged first. "Hey, you like Thai food? There's this great place downtown, maybe we could go sometime." Standard first message, right? Except, something felt off. His profile picture seemed oddly familiar. Maybe someone I went to school with? I shrugged it off, figuring I was just seeing things. "Yeah, I love Thai. Let's do it," I typed back, sealing my fate with a single message. We agreed to meet at this little hole-in-the-wall Thai place the next evening. I was excited, he seemed genuinely nice, and our conversation flowed easily. But that nagging feeling about his picture wouldn't go away. It was like a song stuck in my head, a melody I couldn't quite place. I arrived at the restaurant first and chose a table by the window. As I was scrolling through my phone, I heard his voice before I saw him. "Hey, you must be Sarah," he said, and my blood ran cold. It was him, the boy from my nightmares. Years ago, when I was just a kid, I used to have this recurring nightmare. A boy, always around my age, with dark hair and piercing blue eyes, would torment me. He'd chase me through endless corridors, his laughter echoing behind me, always just out of reach, yet ever present. And standing before me, holding a bouquet of lilies, was that same boy. The one who haunted my childhood, now flesh and blood, smiling politely. My mind raced, trying to rationalize the impossible. It had to be a coincidence, right? I forced a smile, my heart pounding in my chest. "Hi, Ethan," I managed to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. He didn't seem to notice my unease. He sat down, his eyes sparkling with an almost predatory gleam. "You okay? You seem a little pale," he asked, his voice laced with concern. Concern? How could he possibly be concerned? He wasn't real. He was a figment of my imagination, a monster from my past. I just thought you looked familiar," I stammered, my mind scrambling for an explanation, for an escape. He chuckled, a low, guttural sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Oh, really? From where?" His eyes bored into mine, searching for something. An answer I didn't have. I could feel myself unraveling, the line between reality and nightmare blurring. "I don't know, maybe high school?" I lied, desperate to break the tension. He leaned in, his breath warm on my ear, and whispered, "You know, I never went to high school. But I know you, Sarah. I've always known you." His words hit me like a physical blow. This wasn't a coincidence. He knew. He knew about the nightmares, about the fear that had haunted me for years. But how? How could a figment of my imagination be real? And what did he want? I didn't stay to find out. I bolted out of that restaurant, the echo of his laughter chasing me into the night. After a string of bad dates, I decided to give online dating one last shot. I downloaded a new app, one that promised a more personalized experience. I spent hours crafting the perfect profile, highlighting my interests and showcasing my best selfies. I was determined to find someone genuine, someone who shared my love for cheesy rom-coms and midnight adventures. And then I saw his profile. Liam, tall, dark, and handsome, with a disarmingly charming smile. His bio mentioned his love for classic literature and indie music, right up my alley. This felt different. This felt right. We matched. And just like that, my phone screen became a portal to a world of witty banter and shared dreams. Liam was everything I'd ever wanted in a partner. Intelligent, funny, and surprisingly insightful. We spent hours texting, each conversation deepening our connection. He seemed captivated by my every word, always responding with genuine interest and thoughtful questions. It was exhilarating, this feeling of being truly seen and appreciated. After a week of constant communication, he finally asked me out on a date. My heart soared. Our first date was perfect. We met at a cozy bookstore cafe, the air thick with the scent of old paper and brewing coffee. He arrived with a single red rose, its velvety petals mirroring the blush creeping up my neck. Time seemed to stand still as we talked for hours, our conversation flowing effortlessly from lighthearted jokes to profound discussions about life and love. He listened intently, his gaze never wavering, making me feel like I was the only person in the room. It was magical, like something out of a fairy tale. As the night drew to a close, I knew I was falling for him. The next few weeks were a blur of romantic dates and stolen kisses. Liam was everything I had ever dreamed of, and more. But as our relationship deepened, something strange began to happen. It started subtly. a flickering light, a misplaced item, a strange scent lingering in the air. At first, I dismissed it as my imagination, a side effect of falling head over heels in love. But the incidents became more frequent, more unsettling. It was as if someone or something was watching us, lurking just beyond the periphery of my vision. One evening, while Liam was using the restroom, I noticed something strange on his phone. It was a dating app notification, a message from another woman. My stomach dropped. Had he been seeing someone else this whole time? Before I could confront him, he returned, his expression shifting from concern to something akin to panic when he saw me holding his phone. "Sarah, I can explain," he stammered, his voice trembling. But I didn't want an explanation. I felt betrayed, foolish, used. I stormed out of his apartment, tears streaming down my face. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs ached, the city lights blurring into an abstract kaleidoscope of pain. When I finally stopped, gasping for breath, I realized I was lost. As I reached for my phone to call a cab, I noticed a notification. It was a message from Liam, but it wasn't a message of apology or explanation. It was a photo of me standing on the sidewalk, my face contorted in a mixture of heartbreak and despair. And beneath the photo, a chilling caption. "You can't escape me, Sarah. We're bound together now and forever." It all started innocently enough. Another Friday night, another swipe fest on the app. Faces blurred past, a kaleidoscope of smiles and awkward poses. Then her profile stopped me dead in my tracks. Her name was Chloe, and something about her felt familiar. Her eyes, a deep emerald green, seemed to bore right through the screen. They sparked a memory, a flicker of recognition that I couldn't quite place. Had I seen her before? Was she someone I knew from my past? Intrigued and maybe a little creeped out, I swiped right. It felt different this time, like I wasn't just looking for a date, but unraveling a mystery. Little did I know this swipe would lead me down a path far darker than I could have ever imagined. To my surprise, Chloe responded almost immediately. "Hey there," her message read, followed by a winking emoji. I tried to shake off the unnerving familiarity, telling myself it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. We chatted for a while, exchanging pleasantries, our conversation flowing surprisingly easily. She was funny, intelligent, and shared my love for classic horror films. The more we talked, the more I felt drawn to her, the initial unease replaced by a growing sense of connection. But that nagging feeling of recognition wouldn't go away. It lurked in the back of my mind, a persistent whisper telling me something wasn't right. Later that night, as I scrolled through Chloe's profile again, something caught my eye. It was a picture of her at a local coffee shop, the same one I frequented. And in the background, I swore I saw myself. My heart pounded in my chest. This was impossible. I zoomed in on the blurry figure, my blood turning to ice. It was me, no doubt about it. The same shirt, the same haircut, even the same watch on my wrist. But how could that be? This photo had to have been taken months ago, long before I ever saw Chloe's profile. A cold dread washed over me. Something was terribly wrong. Panicked, I raced back to our chat, my fingers trembling as I typed. "Where was that coffee shop picture taken?" I asked, my heart pounding in my ears. Seconds turned into minutes, but there was no response. The silence was deafening. I refreshed the app, my anxiety growing with each passing second. And then it happened. Chloe's profile vanished into thin air. Gone, as if she never existed. The screen stared back at me, blank and accusing. I was left in a state of utter disbelief and horror. Who was Chloe, and how was she connected to me? The unanswered questions gnawed at me, fueling my paranoia. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that Chloe, whoever she was still out there. Days turned into nights, and still there was no sign of her. The dating app felt different now, tainted by the encounter. Every new profile I swiped felt suspicious, every message a potential threat. The experience had shaken me to my core, leaving me with an unshakable feeling of unease. One evening, weeks later, I found myself back at that same coffee shop. As I caught my reflection in the window, I froze. Staring back at me was a face etched with fear, a stranger's eyes peering out from my own. In that moment, I realized the terrifying truth. Chloe wasn't gone. She was a part of me now, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the digital world. And as I looked deeper into my own reflected eyes, I saw a glimmer of emerald green staring back. So the next time you're swiping through profiles, remember these stories. The person on the other side of the screen might not be who they seem, And that seemingly harmless swipe right could lead you into a nightmare you can't escape. Did any of these stories send chills down your spine? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more terrifying tales from the darkest corners of the internet. Sleep tight, if you can.